Myself and,
Okay. Why don't we start with you?
Okay.
Well, yes.
okay, the
You
Honorable...
need to turn on the mic.
Oh, it doesn't work? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, buenas and half a day, Mr. Chairman and Vice Speaker Benjamin J.F. Cruz and members of the committee, not present yet, but okay, I'll go ahead, and members of the Committee on Appropriations and Adjudication. I am honored and humbled for an opportunity to appear before this committee to testify on behalf of Mr. Peter S. Calvo's appointment to serve as the Executive Director of the Civil Service Commission. Mr. Calvo's appointment came following the recent retirement of our former Executive Director and former Senator Tony Lamarena, to my left, who had 30 years of public service. While there will never be another Tony Lamarena, I believe that Mr. Calvo will be an excellent replacement as Executive Director. Although I have only had a short time to work with Mr. Calvo, I find him to be hardworking, sincere, dedicated, and professional. Mr. Calvo's work experience in various agencies of the government include Director of the Guam Energy Office, former Director of the Department of Parks and Rec, Director of the Agency for Human Resources Development, and Manager of the Guam Housing Corporation. He also has a wealth of sports involvement, ranging from being Assistant District Administrator of the Guam Big and Little Leagues, manager and coach of various leagues, member of the Guam National Olympic Committee, and many others too numerous to mention. We are thankful to have someone with such tremendous experience and commitment to public service as a candidate to be our Executive Director. Prior to his official appointment, Mr. Calvo was already spending some afternoon and evenings with the CSE staff and board members to familiarize himself with the daily activities and operations of the Commission. In particular, I know in his role as acting Executive Director, he has been working diligently on Public Law 3355 relative to mandating the use of an administrative law judge and following through on the work of his predecessor. We are hopeful the ALJs will be in operation as early as next month, thanks in part to Mr. Calvo and our staff's hard work. Thank you to the author of the bill, Senator Meritorious, and co-authors yourself, Mr. Vice Speaker, and Senator Rory Respicio. We, the Commission, board members, would be remiss if we didn't express our utmost dangklu na sidus maasi zan agradecimiento to this committee and all the sponsors for passage of Bill 81-33 into law. We, the Commission, will ensure that the ALJ will be utilized for its intended purpose as stipulated in the law. In closing, and on behalf of the members of Civil Service Commission Board, we sincerely ask for your most favorable support of Mr. Peter S. Calvo's confirmation to the Executive Director position of the Civil Service Commission. Si Dios masi para todo y tiempo.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Okay. Senator, thank you for yielding to the chair.
Oh, not a problem, Vice Speaker. Good morning, Vice Speaker, members of the committee. My name is Tony Lamarena, a resident of Tamuning, and I'm here to support, in support of the appointment of Peter S. Calvo. Not only am I supporting Pete because I feel he's qualified, but because he's a proud JFK Islander like myself. I've known Pete's family in Tamuning. We've lived across the street from each other for many, many years. I've seen his family grow and actually grow. How many Pete in your family? Like 13. I quit counting after 8. But Pete and I have also not only been neighborhood friends, we've also grown to work together in the government, from the terms of Governor Joe Ada to Felix Camacho and to currently Governor Calvo. And I've seen his management and leadership skills not only in the government, but as the speaker or the chairman had stated, in civic organizations. I know Pete has been very active with local sports, taking after his dad, the late mayor of Tamuning, Gregorio Calvo, who really was one of the founders of Little League on Guam. And it's nice to see Pete not only get involved in the government, but also civically as well. I have full confidence in Pete. We worked very closely when he was at AHRD under the Ed administration, and likewise with the Guam Energy Office with this administration. And I feel that the work that is still needed to be done will continue and move forward with his leadership. And I encourage the legislature to confirm him to the position as Executive Director of the Civil Service Commission. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator. And I apologize for my absence that you're going away. I was away myself.
Not a problem.
But thank you both for coming this morning and for providing your testimony. If you'd leave a copy of your testimony with us so we don't have to transcribe it.
Yes.
And we'll now, your excuse, and I'll have the nominee, appointee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Buenas, Hafaday, and good morning, Honorable Senators. Chairman Cruz and members of the Committee on Appropriations and Adjudication, Sejus Maase for affording me the opportunity to come before this important committee. When my friend, former Senator Alberto Lamarina, Tony, asked if I would consider being recommended for the position of Civil Service Director, I was extremely humbled that even as a family friend growing up behind him and the group of my older brothers and sisters, that he would feel comfortable to ask me if I would consider such an honorable position. The pride shot through me like a gust of wind. And even if that was all it would amount to, I would be satisfied just being asked. But even more happened as he requested I observe a hearing before the commissioners. As I observed the interaction of the parties and the open line of questions, and finally the commissioners' open deliberation, I was in awe of the astute knowledge of the case, strength of resolve, courage of commitment, and their transparent discussions, all before opposing parties. And I thought to myself, I want to be like Mike, like them, committed to do the right thing. Imagine my pride and the honor I felt when the Commission voted in favor of my recommendation as Civil Service Commission Director to the Governor. That's when I thought growing up I had experiences that may relate to the following of the rules, the sense of fairness and justice the Commissioners demonstrated. I played, coached, managed, coordinated, and administered various sports all my life. I stood up for my younger brothers, even opposing my older brothers. I have stood beside those who were being picked on by my friends. I have always tried to do the right thing, to be fair and to see justice prevail. Professionally, as former director of the Agency for Human Resources and Development, AHRD, I requested for Region 9 representative to visit Guam during the base downsizing, when the military was not forthcoming about dislocated workers, for which HRD was responsible to track and assist. At Parks and Recreation, I enforced no parking on the beaches, burning on the grounds, permit fees and deposits, constant monitoring of animals on park properties, vendor requirements, and historic resources, even if it wasn't popular. As Vice Mayor of Tamuning Tumon, I had received numerous concerns regarding wide-ranging issues from all sectors of the community. Thank you, Senator. Which required intervention, mediation, or arbitration, sometimes all within one case. The past few weeks that I have had the opportunity to work with the staff at the Civil Service Commission have been truly rewarding and enlightening, and showed their professionalism. Their knowledge and dedication to the job will be a tremendous asset for me and continue to be a great benefit for the employees and management of the government of Guam. I am learning a lot about the process. In fact, I see the responsibility simplified as all about process, following the rule of law and justice. The commissioners have the hard task of making decisions. The commissioners, my predecessor Tony, the staff, and this legislature have accomplished many things. Most recently, the passage of Public Law 3355, which has now become another cornerstone in the evolution of the Civil Service Commission. I fully support the intent, and we are working hard to bring this beneficial tool to fruition for the commissioners to utilize. The 4 administrative law judges, ALJ attorneys, have approved the terms, and a final contract for each is in process for signatures. CSC has been waiting for the recruitment listing of the personnel management analysts and the legal secretary supporting the ALJs. Additionally, DOA is reviewing the ALJ personal rules and procedures, as well as the CSC staff is now 75% complete in review of adverse action rules and procedures. We are working on legislative amendments to subsection 4403D on the clarification of null and void, and we will continue to work closely with you on these other activities. While the hiring of the ALJ and the support staff will increase our capability and capacity, CSC also requires additional administrative staffing for payroll, procurement, and clerical support. CSC is working towards the continued archiving of all documents, space consolidation, upgrade of the recording equipment and computers, to provide video capability, because Tony has to take his back. He's the one that we've been using his camera out there. And to provide notebooks to commissioners, which I feel would really reduce their homework in having to carry such a large volume of paper to study. And the unit power supply ups for each computer, which we really don't have at this point, and I feel that that's really necessary for securing our documents, especially in light of the power outages. And moreover, CSC does not have an official transportation asset. As a director, my goals are to provide professional development to the CSC staff and management, and provide educational outreach to agency, management, and employees, allowing for confidence in lay representation for employees and management. The challenges remain great, with caseloads increasing steadily over the years. I would be honored to be part of the solution and resolution that affect the lives of our fellow employees, and hope you will consider giving me a chance. Thank you once again for this opportunity to speak before this august committee. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much. And I want to recognize the presence of Senator Mary Camacho Torres, who is the sponsor of the legislation that both you and the chair have made reference to this morning, and thank her for allowing me to be a co-sponsor of that legislation. Pete, I was very happy that you came by and saw me, and I'm even happier that you went and you saw some of the other senators. And I think you may have allayed a couple of their concerns, which might account for their non-presence this morning, because they're confident in your capability and your willingness to accept this position. I'll let Senator Torres speak for herself if she has any questions or comments.
Mr. Calvo, I also appreciated the fact that you came and visited with us. You know, one of the sensitivities that we have as senators and also as people in the community who have family members and friends that work for the government is we always want to ensure that their rights under the merit protection system is true, and that there's no interference of politics or anything in the process, in the appeal process. And one of the things that I was very happy to hear from you is you also have had friends who have gone through the grievance process, so you had firsthand knowledge and sensitivity to just how weighty the decision of the commissioners is on the lives of people, and that's something that I appreciate, because there's something about taking a position where the person that's aggrieved is a true person in your eyes, and that you're always conscious about your duty to follow through for the benefit of all, and in all fairness. But one of the comments that you made was looking at ways to improve the process. And what Senator Cruz and I were thinking when we introduced the legislation was to facilitate the process by giving the CSC additional resources through the ALJ. But I was wondering, in the short period that you've had to work as the acting director,
Yes, ma'am.
if when I think about your comment on the caseloads continuing to grow, I wonder if there needs to be another process where perhaps the CSC, working in conjunction with the Department of Administration, has some type of an outreach or educational or training program to facilitate other HR departments or HR departments within the government agencies. Because I wonder sometimes if you can alleviate a lot of the problems by ensuring that the managers, the HR directors and the managers are well trained and well informed about the processes and personal rules and regs, so that you don't run into, you alleviate the need to always have employees appealing any disciplinary action. But what are your thoughts on that?
Madam, Senator, you're right on the nail. You hit it right on the nail. Training opportunities need to be expanded. I've talked with the staff as well as even the AG's office, and we're going to start looking at lining up training more frequently. Hopefully, not temporarily, one or two a year. Try and beef it up to one every quarter. And what we've talked about with the AG's office, Carl Espadon, was that perhaps we do a little testing as well to see the level of learning that they've achieved during the training cycle. We expanded to second-tier training to include case study and perhaps actually having them write up the adverse action or defend the grievance. And so trying to build up the confidence in lay representation and hopefully make it more accessible to the employee as well as more comfortable for the management to allow for that negotiated part to be inserted. It seems that the management always looks at the final outcome rather than looking at the procedural corrections that could have been taken. And so we'd like to expand the understanding of the Civil Service Commission's responsibilities and make them more comfortable in addressing their concerns more simply. And again, we still have just started our talks regarding this training, and having attended the adverse action training both by the Civil Service Commission and the AG. That's what initiated part of that, but also the AG's comment on withdrawing some direct AG support to departments. I know that some departments are very shaky in their comfort to represent themselves, and so we really need to address that and make everybody feel comfortable about the process so that they can learn to use it and use it effectively.
I'm glad to hear that, because one of my concerns also, in my experience going before the Civil Service Commission when I was in a leadership position in the government, is, you have to empathize and sympathize with those employees who don't have the means to have counsel with them, to either hire an attorney or to engage someone who can represent them, who's experienced in the Civil Service Commission procedures. And what it really boils down to when you think about it is the whole premise is a violation of the personal rules and regs, right? And so you would think that the managers within the agencies have command of their personal rules and regs, and that the employees also were fully informed and trained on what the regulations are within personal rules and regs. So it should arguably be at that level where it's where the action is between the manager who took the disciplinary action and the employee, and they should be able to hash it out without, you would think, without having to hire outside people, because there's always a disadvantage, and I feel sorry for employees that are, especially those that are in those agencies that have hired attorneys, that have attorneys on staff or on contract. And, you know, imagine that you're one little guy, one little woman, up against management with hired guns. You know, it's very intimidating, and at times I've heard of many employees that don't want to appeal because they feel that well, first of all, they don't think that they're up to par, and number two, they're so intimidated, you know, and I think that if we had a true merit protection system, we should have those considerations that, you know, one man shouldn't feel that he's out-muscled because he has his rights. We have our rights as employees. And if we feel that, you know, we didn't do anything wrong, we should be able to defend ourselves without that pressure. But I've heard of so many people that say, "Basta tibali," you know, I'm going to lose. And part of the loss is they don't even know how to open their mouth.
Right.
They're afraid.
And indeed, Senator, you're correct about the different resource levels that can be expended here. The individual doesn't have that capacity, and that's where we want to make them feel comfortable. Even agreeing to have a lay representative, because even the lay representative properly trained can be just as effective as a lawyer.
Correct.
And we've seen it in my short time. I've seen you know, some of those issues that could be corrected right there had the lay representative or the management been better versed on the process.
But I want to also congratulate you and the commissioners. You know, the commissioners, I have a great deal of respect for what you do and the sacrifices that you make. And I know that it's more than most of us would be able to accomplish. And so, you know, we want to thank you for your service as well. And also to you in the short time you've been there, I know that you've given it a lot of very serious and sincere effort. And I want to acknowledge that as well.
Okay, I still give much credit to the staff and, of course, the commissioners and my predecessor. Just watching them in action has been really heartwarming for me to know that their hearts are in the process and the rule of law. So I'm really proud to be with this organization.
And we're here to facilitate also if there are ways that you think this body can address.
Indeed.
You know, we're more than open to help with that process. So please, you know, never hesitate to contact us.
I will.
Senator Cruz and I'm volunteering him, but he's a good guy.
He's always been a volunteer anyway.
Yeah, he just doesn't smile, but, you know, he's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
Masi.
Pete, thank you very much. And I think Senator Torres's suggestion about prevention is better than having to do all the prescriptive work. But I again want to join her in echoing our appreciation to the commissioners. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members. Yeah, they're all there. So they're all behind you. They may not have all gotten up to speak, but they all signed in support. And so that's you have their support, and as Senator Torres said, you have our ear if there's anything that you need to improve the system. But please take the suggestion of prevention, going out and teaching the managers how to go about filing a adverse action and how to document it, but also to teach the employees that that there are rules that they are supposed to follow themselves and not violate. And I think we can lessen the workload and not have to carry ALJs for the next 10 years.
We appreciate that, sir.
That expense. But thank you very much. And again, I thank the commissioners for their hard work and diligence in protecting the merit system, because as Senator Torres put it, it's the most important part of this government, is protecting the rights of the employees who have earned and competed for their position in government and should not be denied their position for political reasons, and should only suffer a consequence if, in fact, they have truly violated a rule or law of the agency. So I thank you, and you have our support to get this to the floor before the end of the month.
Thank you, Mr.
And so you did need to have everybody send me an email saying that please be nice to him.
As I mentioned to you, Mr. Speaker, as I mentioned to you, I normally leave it to chance, but I was just so pleased and honored that all of them would show up today.
Thank you. Okay. This confirmation hearing is completed, and we'll go on to the second item on the agenda. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Senator.
Give it to Joe to sign. The second item on the agenda was a resolution. The second item on the agenda is Resolution 299 that I introduced relative to expressing Legislatura en Guajan's unequivocal support of H.R. 4345, cited as the National Community Service Improvement Act of 2015, to extend participation and eligibility in national service programs to citizens of the Federated States of Micronesia, Republic of the Marshall Islands, and Republic of Palau, who are admitted to the United States under the terms of the applicable Nations Compact of Free Association with the United States, is introduced in the United States House of Representatives by the Honorable Congresswoman Madeline Z. Bordallo and co-sponsored by Congresswoman Tusi Gabbard of Hawaii and Congressman Kalili Sablan of Northern Marianas. I know we sent out invitations to people. I'm disappointed that no one's here, but we will have considered this as having been heard and complied with our standing rules. And I thank Senator Torres for joining me this morning. We stand adjourned.